As the summer was winding down, the WPIAL football season was ready to commence. There are few schools in the WPIAL that can match the history and tradition of the Upper St. Clair Panthers, and with Coach Jim Render back for his 32nd season, the expectations at USC were understandably high. The Panthers were preparing to face a challenging schedule, which included non-conference games against Quad A rival North Allegheny and perennial AAA power West Allegheny. Also, USC would be competing in the always difficult Great Southern Conference. The schedule featured a home game against defending conference champion Bethel Park and a regular season finale showdown at arch rival Mount Lebanon. Though the team was returning a number of players at key positions from the year before, the Panthers would be a fairly young team with only 12 seniors on the roster. Upper St. Clair would be looking for its sophomores and juniors to grow up quickly on the field and to bond with those 12 seniors to form a team that could challenge for both the conference and district titles. In Week 1, the Panthers traveled to Shaler to take on the Titans. Both teams were playoff qualifiers in 2009 and both expected to qualify again in 2010. On its opening possession, USC drove the ball deep into Titan territory. A long run by Dakota Conwell sparked the drive. Conwell then found Mike Wilcox open over the middle, which set up a 28-yard field goal by Killen Mulkern. The USC defense stood tall in the first half as it shut out the Titans. With the defense doing exceptional work, the offense finally broke through late in the half. On a 4th and 1 at the Shaler 4-yard line, Conwell took the ball around the left side and found the end zone. The score gave the Panthers a 10-0 lead at intermission. After exchanging possessions, the Panthers started to put together a drive late in the third quarter. DJ Scarton broke off a long run, and Conwell found Harris Beck down the right side for significant yardage. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Scarton capped the drive with a 1-yard TD plunge. The Titans eventually got on the scoreboard with a fourth quarter touchdown, but the Panthers' defense continued to dominate. Shaler gained only a total of 112 yards for the game. Meanwhile, the Panthers' running game racked up over 250 yards. Led by Matt Doman, who rushed for 103 yards on 21 carries, the Panthers marched down the field late in the fourth quarter. Scarton added his second touchdown of the game, scoring from 6 yards out. Final score, Upper St. Clair 24, Shaler 6. USC went on the road again in Week 2 as it traveled to 1-0 Norwin. The only scoring in the first quarter came on a 36-yard Killen Mulkern field goal. Midway through the second quarter, the Panthers found an impressive spark from their defense. Matt Paxton picked off a Norwin pass and ran it all the way back to the Norwin 5-yard line. The interception and return set up a Matt Doman touchdown run. Meanwhile, the Panthers' defense continued to frustrate the Knights. A bad snap on a Norwin punt gave USC great field position, and it would capitalize. Dakota Conwell hooked up with Mitchell Fawcett to get inside the 10-yard line. Zach Dietrich took a handoff and powered his way to the 1-yard line. Conwell finished off the drive with a touchdown on a quarterback sneak. Upper St. Clair was not done scoring yet. The defense recovered a Norwin fumble that gave the offense another short field. This time, Dietrich sprinted into the end zone from 9 yards out. The score gave the Panthers a commanding 24-0 lead at halftime. USC finished the game off early in the third quarter. A long run by Dakota Conwell got the Panthers deep into Knights territory. The drive was capped off when Conwell connected with Fawcett for a 7-yard pass and catch. The score pushed the lead to 31-0. Upper St. Clair's defense did the rest. The Panthers held the Knights to only 81 total yards and shut out Norwin. The victory improved the Panthers' record to 2-0. In Week 3, the Panthers hosted the undefeated North Allegheny Tigers. The Panthers' defense kept the game close in the first half, but early in the second quarter, the Tigers scored on a short touchdown, and the halftime score was North Allegheny 7, Upper St. Clair nothing. The second half did not go Upper St. Clair's way. The Tigers' offense got rolling, and USC was not able to generate any points of its own. North Allegheny took the victory 27-0. It was the Panthers' first loss of the season. The Panthers' record after Week 3, 2-1. In Week 4, Upper St. Clair hosted the undefeated Indians of West Allegheny. USC got the ball to start the game and went immediately to work. Dakota Conwell connected with Harris Beck deep down the middle. Conwell finished the drive when he burst through the right side of the line and into the end zone. USC kept the offensive momentum rolling on its second possession. Conwell continued to run the ball well for the Panthers. Deep in Indians territory, Conwell dropped back to pass and found Jack Schwabe in the end zone for a touchdown. The score pushed the Upper St. Clair lead to 14-0. After West Allegheny scored, Conwell, on a well-designed quarterback draw play, broke free for a 63-yard touchdown run. But West Allegheny would not go away and scored another touchdown before the half. The score at the break, Upper St. Clair 21, West Allegheny 14. The offensive fireworks from the first half cascaded into a defensive struggle in the second half. West Allegheny scored the only points of the third quarter, but a blocked extra point allowed Upper St. Clair to retain a 21-20 lead going into the fourth stanza. Conwell continued to run hard, and the Panthers' offense finally started to move the ball in the second half. With just over 9 minutes left in the game, Conwell found Jack Schwabe in the right flat for another touchdown. The score and extra point pushed the USC lead to 28-20. The defense stepped up on the next possession and made a huge stop. Drew Newman racked up a sack, and then Matt Paxton knocked away a pass that forced the Indians to punt. The Panther offense kept the ball on the ground and converted a few first downs that eventually allowed the Panthers to kneel down and run out the clock. The final score, Upper St. Clair 28, West Allegheny 20, the Panthers 3-1.
Best Jersey Shore cast member.
Wow, that's a tough question.
Oh God. I know half of them are gonna say me, it's bad.
It would definitely be Wilcox or Fawcett.
Probably Wilcox or Mitchell.
But Connor also creates a lot of controversy, and especially with the women.
Staloot, though. Staloot and, Koditz.
It'd be all of us cornerbacks, or all of us defensive backs. They even said that we'd be the Jersey Shore cast because we're always into so much drama.
Definitely Mitchell. Yeah.
Probably Michael Wilcox.
Definitely Mike Wilcox. I'm gonna have to go with Mike Wilcox.
Coach Robbins.
No, definitely Mitchell.
Because he doesn't take any crap and he's just giant.
He looks at himself in every mirror, dark glass. So I think he'd fit in well on the show.
Roy Blair or Michael Wilcox.
In Week 5, the Panthers hit the road for a conference opener against the Baldwin Highlanders. The Panthers were sluggish at the outset, and Baldwin scored on its first possession. Late in the first quarter, trailing 7-0, the Panther defense came up with a significant play. Jack Schwabe batted the ball into the air, and Harris Beck caught it and plowed into the end zone. And the next time Upper St. Clair got the ball, and it got its offense rolling. Matt Doman ran into Highlander territory. Dakota Conwell finished off the drive with a 9-yard touchdown run. The score and extra point gave USC a 14-7 lead. Ryan Boyd's interception of the Baldwin pass got the Panthers the ball back, and the offense did not take long to capitalize. Mitchell Fawcett took a handoff around the left end and raced 50 yards down the sideline for a score. Baldwin scored a late second quarter touchdown, and the halftime score was Upper St. Clair 21, Baldwin 14. In the third quarter, the Panthers expanded their lead. Conwell connected with Mike Wilcox for a 30-yard touchdown. USC's defense shut out the Highlanders in the third quarter, and with time winding down in the quarter, Conwell scored again on a 9-yard run that gave the Panthers a 35-14 lead. A 22-yard Jay Horton field goal finished the scoring for Upper St. Clair. USC's defense continued to pressure the Highlanders. Interceptions by Conwell and Wilcox prevented Baldwin from gaining momentum. The Highlanders did score late in the game, but little else went right for Baldwin. As time ticked away, Upper St. Clair improved its record to 4-1 with a 38-22 victory. In Week 6, the Panthers celebrated homecoming and hosted the Indians of Peters Township. Both teams entered the game with 1-0 records in the Great Southern Conference. Midway through the first quarter, Conwell raced down the right sideline for a 52-yard touchdown, and just like that, the Panthers had a 7-0 lead. The Indians responded with a long drive of their own, but the Panther defense responded with a goal line stand that kept Peters Township out of the end zone. The Indians' defense did cause a safety that cut the lead to 7-2. Peters Township was on the move again, but Connor Scott came up with a big play. Scott picked off the pass and returned it 70 yards for a score. After a defensive stop, Upper St. Clair had the ball back again. Conwell connected with Mitchell Fawcett, and the Panthers were in business inside the Indians' 10-yard line. Conwell capped the drive off with a 5-yard touchdown run. USC's defense was stout throughout the half as it stopped the Indians' rushing game and pressured their quarterback. The Panthers had a 21-2 lead at halftime. Peters Township cut the USC lead to 21-9 when it scored late in the third quarter. The Panthers, however, did not waste any time in responding. Conwell connected with Fawcett in the left flat, and then Fawcett did the rest. The pass and catch tallied 54 yards and gave USC great field position. Conwell finished the drive with his third rushing touchdown of the evening, this time from 10 yards out. The score pushed Upper St. Clair's lead to 28-9. The Indians tallied one more late score, but the game belonged to the Panthers. The 28-16 win moved Upper St. Clair to a 2-0 conference record and 5-1 overall. In Week 7, the Panthers journeyed to Cannon-McMillan. In the first half, Upper St. Clair struggled offensively, but the defense stepped up. On a 4th and goal from the 5-yard line, the Panthers' defense denied the Big Macs any points. Both offenses sputtered for the rest of the half, and the two teams headed to the locker rooms with the score tied. Late in the third quarter, the Panthers' offense finally found its rhythm. Matt Paxton carried the ball on 2 important runs to keep the drive moving. Conwell found DJ Scarton for a first down catch, and then Scarton got the call again and bullied his way down to the 2-yard line. The Panthers finally got on the scoreboard as Conwell carried the ball into the end zone. The USC defense continued applying pressure throughout the game, and a 25-yard field goal by Kellen Malkern put the game away for the Panthers. The 10-0 victory was not a work of art, but the Panthers were 6-1 overall and 3-0 in the Great Southern Conference. In Week 8, Upper St. Clair hosted the Blackhawks of Bethel Park. Bethel Park had won the previous 2 regular season meetings, and the Panthers were determined to end that slide. USC started quickly. Dakota Conwell broke a long run that gave Upper St. Clair a 1st and goal. Bethel Park's defense stopped the Panthers on the first 3 tries, but on a 4th and goal from the 1, Conwell pushed his way into the end zone, and the Panthers had the lead. A defensive stop forced the Hawks to punt, and a bad snap led to a safety, pushing the Panthers' advantage to 9-0. Upper St. Clair got the ball back again after the safety, and Conwell scored his second touchdown, this time from 14 yards out. Bethel Park scored on a 31-yard touchdown pass that cut the lead to 16-7. Then late in the half, the Panthers started to move the ball. Conwell hooked up with Chris Kolitz for a 39-yard gain. Conwell then found Mitchell Fawcett over the middle to set the Panthers up inside the 10-yard line. With less than a minute left in the half, Conwell ran around the left side and ran over a Bethel Park defender to give the Panthers a 23-7 lead. The Panthers kept rolling in the second half. Conwell connected with Mike Wilcox deep down the sideline for a 43-yard gain. Wilcox was ruled down at the 1-yard line, which set up a DJ Scarton 1-yard touchdown run. Bethel Park scored on its next possession, but the Panthers seized the moment. Conwell burst free down the right sideline for a 43-yard touchdown run that gave USC a 37-14 lead. Upper St. Clair was not done scoring yet. Late in the fourth quarter, the Panthers started a drive led by Connor Scott. Scott broke a long run deep into Bethel Park territory. He then pushed his way down to the 1-yard line, which set up a 1-yard touchdown run. The score, an extra point, gave the Panthers a 44-21 victory. The impressive win moved USC to 7-1 overall and undefeated in conference play.
I think I would be Coach Petraeus' friend on Facebook.
Petraeus.
Definitely Coach Petraeus. He's got a lot of crazy stories, so I feel like he'd be kind of funny guy to follow.
I'd also like to see his status. I feel like I'd be enlightened by some of the things he'd say.
I'd have to add, who would I add?
Probably Coach Render, just so I could see ridiculous things he would write if he would ever. Or Coach Petraeus, just because he'd probably say some ridiculous things.
Either Petraeus or Coach Render.
I'd say I'd add Coach Pick because I know he would never accept me. So if I could get away to be friends with him on Facebook, that'd be nice.
I'd pick Coach Pick as the coach to be friends with on Facebook because he probably has the most interesting friends.
Coach Petraeus because he just seems the most interesting.
Coach Render, because just it'd be great to see him having a Facebook.
Coach Petraeus, because he would just have hilarious stories and just anything he was thinking, he'd put it up there and let everybody see.
Probably Coach Robbins, because he'd probably be friends with some really intense people, like The Undertaker.
In Week 9, the Panthers navigated north on Route 19 to face their rivals, the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. Both teams entered the game undefeated in conference play. This game would decide the conference championship. On the opening kickoff, the Blue Devils fumbled the ball and USC's Zach Dietrich recovered it. Upper St. Clair's offense got out of the gates quickly. Connor Scott burst through the line for a first down. Dakota Conwell carried the ball up the middle inside the Lebo 5-yard line to set up a 1st and goal. Conwell took the ball again and pushed his way into the end zone to give USC a 7-0 lead. That would be all the scoring, however, for either team in the first half. The Panthers' defense stopped the Mount Lebanon running game and applied pressure to the passing attack. Late in the third quarter, the Panthers' offense got going again. Conwell found Mitchell Fawcett open for 19 yards. The catch set up a 32-yard Killen Mulkern field goal. The kick pushed the Upper St. Clair lead to 10-0. A long kickoff return set up a short pass and catch touchdown for Mount Lebanon. The Blue Devils would go for 2 and convert to make the score Upper St. Clair 10, Mount Lebanon 8. A controversial fumble call gave Mount Lebanon the ball back, and a quick score gave the Blue Devils a 14-10 lead. The Panthers would get one last chance with the ball. On a 4th down, Conwell found Wilcox for a first down. with 13 seconds remaining, USC had 2 shots at the end zone. The first pass fell just out of the reach of Wilcox, and on the final play of the game, a Blue Devil defender knocked the ball away. Mount Lebanon won 14-10. The loss dropped Upper St. Clair to 7-2 on the regular season and meant that they would finish second in the Great Southern Conference. Week 10 kicked off the WPIAL playoffs, and with their second-place finish in conference play, the Panthers hosted a first-round game. Their opponent, the Penn Hills Indians. In 2009, the Panthers suffered a playoff loss to the Indians. In 2010, Upper St. Clair wanted to write a much different script. Upper St. Clair got going early with a huge special teams play. Mitchell Fawcett fielded a Penn Hills punt and returned it 60 yards for a touchdown that gave USC the lead. The Panthers' defense came up with a key play as Austin Steffen picked off a Penn Hills pass that gave the USC offense excellent field position. Conwell broke free of the Indians' defenders and rushed 37 yards for the score. USC led 14-0. A quick strike from the Indians' offense narrowed the lead to 8 points. A late quarter Panther drive set up a 30-yard Kellen Malkern field goal that gave USC a 17-6 lead. But the Indians scored a touchdown, a long touchdown, late in the second quarter that drew them within 4 points. Upper St. Clair running back Connor Scott broke a long run that moved the Panthers deep into Indians territory. And with less than a minute to play in the half, Conwell found Harris Beck in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. The halftime score, Upper St. Clair 23, Penn Hills 13. The Panthers took the ball to start the second half, and the Panthers kept the ball on the ground on this drive. Scott and Conwell carried the load as USC marched down the field. Scott finished off the drive with a 4-yard run that gave the Panthers some breathing room. Scott capped off his huge night with a 22-yard touchdown run late in the third quarter, and it extended the Panther lead to 37-13. The Indians notched a meaningless fourth quarter touchdown, and there was no doubt about it that tonight was Upper St. Clair's night. The Panthers rushed for 312 yards. The final score, the Panthers 37, the Indians 21, and the Panthers moved into the WPIAL quarterfinals. In the second round of the WPIAL playoffs, Upper St. Clair squared off against the North Hills Indians at Chartiers Valley High School. The first half of the game was not kind to the Panthers. On a long fourth down play late in the first quarter, North Hills connected on a 27-yard pass that gave it an early lead. The Indians scored again on a 10-yard run that gave them a 13-0 lead. And late in the half, the Indians drove the ball deep into Panther territory. An Indians field goal as time expired at the end of the first half sent Upper St. Clair to the locker room, trailing 16-0. The Panthers' defense settled down in the second half, and the USC offense found its stride late in the third quarter. Conwell scrambled left and eventually found a wide-open Chris Kolditz in the end zone. Trailing 16-6, Upper St. Clair went for the two-point conversion. Conwell hooked up with Harris Beck for a successful conversion, bringing the Panthers within 8 points. The Upper St. Clair defense held its ground and gave the offense a drive midway through the fourth quarter. The Panthers moved the ball deep into the North Hills end of the field, and with just 4 minutes remaining, Conwell hooked up with Kolditz again, this time from 6 yards out. Trailing 16-14, USC went for 2 points again. Conwell's keeper was stopped this time, and the Panthers continued to trail by 2. USC forced a North Hills punt and got the ball back with less than a minute remaining. But unfortunately, the offense of the Panthers could not move the ball this time, and time ran out on the Upper St. Clair comeback attempt. North Hills advanced with a 16-14 victory. So the curtain had come down on the USC season. The Panthers finished 8-3. This 2010 edition upheld the high standard of Upper St. Clair football. The 12 seniors did not finish their careers with a championship, but they were able to leave their marks on a sports program which has, for decades, helped define the spirit of excellence of Upper St. Clair.
I think that I had a lot more leadership on the team than I had before, and I think people looked up to me more. Not a lot more, but I could tell. Playing on the field with all my friends and coming out under the lights, I'll always remember that. I think the 12 of us were a lot closer than the other seniors because there were so few of us. Felt like we had to rely on each other a lot more than, maybe a class with 20 kids. We're a lot closer. I think I'm going to miss the camaraderie and the fact that I've been playing with these guys since 7th grade when I started playing football. I'm going to miss being with all the guys, and Friday nights I'm always going to miss a lot.
I thought I could be a good wide receiver. I didn't know any of the plays. I didn't really know how to play. I just learned through practice. Just remember playing with all my friends and having fun. I don't know, it's just sort of like your family. Just the crowd and the environment. I don't know, I just like that everybody was watching our team.
I hope we're remembered as a class who was quick to goof around but knew when we had to work and when hard work was needed. And I thought we inspired a lot of younger kids to have great attendance in the off season, and I thought we put a lot of hard work ethics in the younger guys that they can hopefully carry on. I'd say it's a tie between the run out on the field and looking up at the crowd and seeing everyone cheering, and the feeling you get when you come back in the locker room and everyone's just so pumped up after we won a big game. It's just an indescribable feeling. I guess I learned how to work hard for something, and that as a team, just a small group of guys can accomplish a good bit.
Yeah, I mean, you have to lead, and it's just different, You look forward to being a senior ever since you've been a freshman, and it flew by. It was so quick. Just the feeling. Yeah, all day you're just looking forward to 7:30, and you get to the school around 4, you get into the meetings, and you get taped up, and you just know you're about to play at 7:30. It's a good feeling. I thought it was good for our team. I mean, there were only 12 of us, and we kind of moved around the locker room and got to know everybody, and we were all friends. There wasn't anybody on the team that we didn't like, so it was really tight in the locker room, and we didn't have many problems. And even if there were problems, we would get over it, just right away, and everybody was fine.
I don't know, it's your last year, and I remember asking players who I've played with in the past that, what's different, and I mean, the year does go by a lot faster. The season felt like it was way too fast, and I'm gonna miss playing football because you have to look forward, and I miss it already. I think it helped us as a team. I don't know, you look at the past senior classes, and they weren't all as close. I mean, yeah, we don't necessarily hang out with each other on the weekends, but in football, with it being just 12 of us, it was more I don't know, it was easier to get along with each other. Running out on the field was probably the best feeling. I don't know, you grow up wondering what it's like to play in front of a lot of people, and playing under the lights Friday nights, one of the bigger thrills that you get to experience playing high school sports.
Well, since I hadn't been there for other years, it was a little bit, I didn't know what it felt like to have a big senior class, but we were all a really close-knit class, so really no different from any other team. The last game, I think Coach Render he definitely said this after the game, but it was really a trademark moment of how well we could do. We were behind 14 points, and we really rallied as a team, and I feel that moment will always stand out to me.
I was expecting a pretty good year, you know. Maybe a Whitfield title run, few ups and downs. I think we pretty much met my expectations. Probably the anticipation of the game, sitting around the locker room with your friends, your teammates, kids you've been with the past 10 years of your life, waiting to go on the game, running onto the field, and then playing, obviously. With such a small class, you see more of a relationship with everyone, as in with bigger classes, you might see less knowing of each other with everyone. What I'm really going to miss, being around my teammates, all the memories we've formed, all the great times we had.
I think working with people and depending on other people, not just yourself, to get things done is something to learn. And even being like a leader on the team is probably something I'll take away from football. Kind of the leadership role where everybody looks up to you. And there's a lot of new juniors that started or sophomores, so you kind of had to show them the way, and everybody kind of looked up to you to be a leader. Probably beating Penn Hills. That was the first playoff game we've won since we've been in high school or on the team, because we kind of wanted to finally win a big game. You know, not that we didn't win big games before, but as seniors, kind of winning a playoff game and making that next step as a team was important. I'm definitely going to miss playing every Friday night with my best friends. You know, that was kind of unforgettable, and you know, every time coming out of that locker room and playing every game and playing as hard as you could, knowing it could be your last, especially your senior year, it was really memorable.
I hope they remember our class as the class that we overcame the hurdle of that first Whitfield playoff game. And the two senior classes before us hadn't made it past that first round. So I think our legacy wants to be that we were the ones to make that, to go the extra step. I'll miss just the camaraderie between our senior class, and just like practices weren't the most fun, but like the conversations we would have during practice and just the friendships, because the friendships were so close, knowing that we were all working for a common goal. It just made us that much closer as friends.
It was a little intimidating. I mean, because they're all more experienced than I am. So, but I mean, I did well. I mean, they took me in, so I was pretty happy with that. Just the adrenaline rush. Everyone's there, just cheering on a team. It's real fun. Peters Township game. It was probably the most fun. I hit so many kids that game. The quarterback leveled him. That was the best. That was probably one of my favorite games. All the fun I had, coming back and just being being just part of this huge family. Even though I wasn't on a team as long as everyone else, they still just took me in, and it was fun. That's what I remember the most. It's just the most fun you can have on a team.
Just going out there, you know, with people who we've done it for, how many years? 9 years. Been playing with these guys, you know, so it's fun. I think it was just bonding with people who you normally wouldn't bond with, you know, to broaden your horizon of friends. I think that'll help me in the long run. Being a small class, we got to watch a lot of the older classmen, how there was like 20 kids in a class, and there was different like cliques here and there, and in ours it really wasn't. You know, everybody was friends. We all talked about the same stuff, and everybody seemed to get along better.
Expectations were high. You know, it's your senior year, you want to win. I thought we had a lot of key players coming back. We kind of lacked senior line. We only had 2 players, but we had younger kids step up. The crowd it always gets me going when we have like a big crowd and someone makes a big play and you can hear everyone cheering. Different is playing as a senior. I think there's more expected out of you. The younger kids look up to you. The coaches know that you've been there. You've seen teams succeed. So you have kind of weight on your back to play great. I loved it. I love all those guys. They're my brothers. We're not all like best friends outside of football, but when we're in like the locker room and stuff, we have like a real tight bond with each other.
Well, ideally, you know, a quad A football program would have many more than 12. As it turned out, we only had one offensive senior lineman and one defensive senior lineman, which, you know, that's not enough. The seniors we had, you know, that was a great group, and they all contributed. They all found a way to contribute. But, you know, in an ideal situation, we would probably need, we'd like to have 25 seniors, double what we've had. Well, certainly, yes, you know, we wanted to win a playoff game. We wanted to win several. But, you know, it was Penn Hills again at home, and, you know, their record never indicates their worth. They have some marvelous athletes, and it was a nice victory. It was you know, it wasn't a one-dimensional victory. I thought we went after them in all phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, and pound for pound or player for player, you might pick the Penn Hills kid over our kids at many of the positions, but functioning as a unit and as a team, I thought, you know, it spoke well of them wanting to go out with a victory the last time they were going to play in our stadium. You know, we had some nice victories, and you know, there's plays in those games that really stick out in my mind. For instance, the Peters Township game, Connor Scott intercepted the ball and ran it back past their best player, the quarterback who threw the ball, and scored. You know, I like to see Upper St. Clair fans en masse, and I like to see the student body and the drum line and all that stuff, you know, cranked up. I like to run out there on youth night. I get a kick out of those kids looking starry-eyed at the players and slapping hands. And you know, that Friday night is by far the best night. That's the night you get to compete and line up and see if your hard work's paid off. And well, this group did not win any championship at the conference level. Didn't win a WPIL, but you know, they were shorthanded virtually all the time. They were missing parts, and so, you know, they were small but mighty, and I still think that this class, as well as the rest of the team, if you're going to play Upper St. Clair on a Friday night, you're going to be in for a hard night's work. Pack your lunch, because it isn't going to be easy. And that's a credit, you know, to those young men. And we had some seniors that were very competitive people, and they were going to do their best, give their all. Effort, passion, competitiveness, will to win, it was all there.